A tragedy that every parent fears most has just struck Los Angeles. And it's a stark reminder of how a harmless childhood illness can become a silent killer years after recovery. Health authorities in Los Angeles County announced this past Thursday that a young child has lost their life to a devastating brain condition directly linked to measles. But here's the chilling part. This wasn't from a recent infection. The child had contracted the virus during their first year of life, long before they were eligible for vaccination protection. The culprit behind this heartbreaking loss is something called Subacute Sclerosing Panencephalitis, or SSPE for short. Think of it as measles' most sinister trick, a condition where the virus secretly embeds itself in the nervous system and strikes without warning years down the road. And when SSPE appears, medical professionals know there's no cure, no treatment that can stop its fatal progression. This tragic case serves as a devastating reminder of measles' true danger, particularly for our most defenseless community members, stated Munto Davis, the county's chief health officer. Babies who haven't yet reached vaccination age depend entirely on the rest of us to create a protective shield around them through widespread immunity. Getting vaccinated isn't a personal choice that affects only you. It's a community responsibility that safeguards your loved ones, your neighbors, and especially those precious infants who are too vulnerable to protect themselves. But here's where it gets truly terrifying. SSPE develops through a process that gives families false hope. A child contracts measles, experiences the typical symptoms we're all familiar with. The flu-like feelings, soaring temperatures, and that characteristic rash. Then, seemingly miraculously, they recover completely. Parents breathe sighs of relief, thinking the ordeal is behind them. Yet for an unlucky few, the measles virus never truly leaves. Instead, it lurks dormant in the central nervous system, waiting to resurface as SSPE typically 7 to 10 years later. The statistics paint a sobering picture. While SSPE strikes roughly 1 in every 10,000 individuals who contract measles, the odds become dramatically worse for infants, jumping to approximately 1 in 600 cases. That's the vulnerable population this Los Angeles child belonged to, having been infected before reaching the 12 to 15-month window when the first measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination is typically administered. Here's what makes this situation even more frustrating. This type of tragedy had essentially vanished from American soil. Thanks to comprehensive vaccination campaigns, measles was officially declared eliminated from the United States in 2000, and SSPE cases became virtually non-existent. We had effectively conquered this medieval-style killer. And this is the part most people miss. We're witnessing a completely preventable regression. As vaccination coverage begins to decline and anti-vaccine misinformation spreads like wildfire across social media platforms and communities, health professionals are watching their worst fears materialize. The current year has already brought us measles case numbers not seen in over 3 decades. And this young Los Angeles victim joins 2 other children and 1 adult who have already perished from acute measles infections in recent months. But here's where it gets controversial. In our interconnected society, should individual vaccination choices be considered personal freedom? Or do they cross into public health territory when they potentially endanger others? When a parent's decision not to vaccinate their healthy child could contribute to an environment where vulnerable infants like this Los Angeles victim face deadly consequences, where exactly should we draw the line between personal liberty and collective responsibility? This tragic case forces us to confront some uncomfortable questions. Is the current approach to combating vaccine misinformation sufficient? Should there be stronger measures to ensure community protection for those who cannot protect themselves? And perhaps most importantly, how many more preventable childhood deaths will it take before we seriously address the growing anti-vaccine movement's impact on public health? What's your perspective on this delicate balance between individual choice and community safety? Do you believe parents have the right to make vaccination decisions that could potentially affect other families' children? Or should public health protection take precedence? Share your thoughts. This conversation affects every family in America.